Again, they do not want Uzi to pick up that champion. Gangplank's going to be the second man that comes out from RNG, as Talia's going to hit the bench as well, which does leave Lissandra up and available.
This would be the first time that EDG have priority picked their mid lane throughout the series, though.
It was banned in game number 2 when RNG first picked the Talia, so there's a lot of presence and appreciation being given to Scout by Xiaohu.
So Lissandra is picked up first. Champion that RNG, I have been using quite frequently for Xiaohu in the mid lane.
And this is the other adaptation that I really wanted to see from RNG. I think Deft definitively showed why Ashe is the superior champion, at least in the LPL when it comes between Jhin and Ashe, being able to snipe Jhin in that backline, deny his ultimate with her own. And so I want to see Uzi get his hands on these champions. So I like Fly, the coach for RNG's priority here.
Since we know both Deft and Uzi play Ashe, we've seen them play it multiple times in the summits with the LPL. But when we think of these two teams, we think that Uzi be the one that wants to pick it up more. You look at Deft and be like, yep, Kog'Maw's going to come out, you know, maybe a Twitch pick in between there. But so far, it's just been landing in the hands of Deft so far.
And it's not Alistar, but it is Braum.
So they're going to pick up your favorite lane, Froskurinn. The mustache lane will be picked up for RNG, already making a big change coming into this third game.
Now we're talking. RNG want to win lane. Give them the Ashe and the Braum. It doesn't actually matter what EDG play into it. They can have the Alistar Kalista if they want to go something deep like that. It doesn't outright win the lane, though, because what RNG now have is at the bare minimum of net neutral 2v2.
And don't be mistaken, he did say Alistar Kalista. We've seen EDG play it relatively late into their LPL season, when we were, designing all of the champions that these two AD carries could possibly pick. We had to write down the Kalista Alistar pocket pick, although with Kench being picked up, it should pretty much deny that Kalista.
Pretty much. And it's going to be echoed against Locked In as well for Mouse. He's going to have a repeat performance on the champion. Has been seen in 100% of the games so far and has been picked up very heavily in the playoffs of the LPL.
And the thing is EDG are still hiding a lot about what their composition does right now. They still kind of have that basic standard, 6.15 semi-global presence where you're running the double teleport. You have Lissandra for the wave control. You have the Echo for the wave control and lane control. But they haven't really revealed their hand. Do they have some pick-oriented fights here? Are they going more AoE?
I think Clearlove just wants to see who he's playing against.
Yep.
He might actually just find out here as Xiaohu's going to be locking the Elise for Mlxg, so the Spider be taken into the jungle for RNG, and Xiaohu actually going to be able to pick up Malzahar heading into this game.
Again, 6.15. Malzahar has been tuned down quite a bit, particularly on the window for his passive, so there are much larger counterplay windows. He's not as immobile as he used to be.
As that's an instant lock-in of Varus coming out for Deft.
That's AD carry Varus.
And Graves is going to be picked up for Clearlove in the jungle.
I mean, fair enough. If that's your goal, is to poke them out. It does outrange an Ashe. It can win lane. You've got a Tahm Kench to save you. It's kind of like Jhin, which is what I was expecting. That's unusual, though.
They may not have Name any longer on the bench, but still going back to the old Varus pick.
Now we'll have to see what RNG going to be picking up as their final pick. Should be a top lane unless they decide to flex the Malzahar into the top lane. They did pick up the Gnar in the last match, and Lupa did have a few fantastic Gnar ultimates, but his team just fell too far behind, wasn't able to have that impact that he wanted to, and it is going to be the Gnar that gets locked in for Lupa on the top side of the map.
So far across EDG's composition, you have a lot of superficial tankiness, and that you have the Grey Health from Tahm Kench, the Frozen Tomb from Lissandra, as well as the Chrono Break from Echo, but they don't necessarily have a true tank line as they did in the last game by having Clearlove on that Rex side, this time taking that Grave, so like Rusty said, wanting to go for that dueling potential between the Elise.
Yeah, the way I see this is EDG want to get ahead early, otherwise their tanks aren't actually tanks at all. It comes down to how much work Lupa, Xiaohu, or Uzi can get done. Even Mlxg, if he gets ahead on the Elise, will do a lot of damage.
We kind of talked about this earlier, guys. EDG, recently they've been choking when it really counts. Haven't been able to make it to the grand finals. They really want to be the first seed from China heading into Worlds. RNG have been able to step up and hit hard where it counts. And now it's really do or die. It's down to the third game here EDG are 2-0 up. They're looking for the 3-0 victory, whereas RNG, they have to start the reverse sweep here.
I mean, people throw around the phrase statement game a lot, but EDG are making a statement about their series. The last 3 attempts at the LPL title, they have failed to take it home. They went for the perfect record in the 2015 summer run, and they can chase perfection and reclaim their throne if they take down RNG here. A 3-0 is massive.
Not only would it give them a perfect grand finals, but also add to the perfect summer split that they've had in the 2016 LPL regular season, and also give them the first place seed heading into the World Championship later on this year. RNG definitely looking to fight back though.
One more win for EDG off split perfection.
We look across compositions though. So you've got the AoE poke, a lot of siege potential from EDG. RNG on the other side have so much individual lockdown and pick potential.
Well, let's see if RNG can use that lockdown and pick potential to come back into this series, because we are on to Summoner's Rift for game number 3 between EDG and RNG for the grand finals of the LPL.
Once again, to reiterate the fact we are standard lanes, and it's going to be a Varus that we're seeing in these standard lanes. Has a lot of damage, doesn't hit minions before he hits you. Can work out reasonably successfully. But we'll have to see how it actually pans out, because even teamfight utility is available for Deft. He's giving crowd control similar to that of the Ashe in a teamfight at close quarters.
What's really interesting to me is that the one advantage that Ashe really has over kind of the other big AD carries, Sivir being the primary pickup as the most played champion on 6.15 in that AD carry position, is that Ashe has the difference where she can chip away and she can poke at you when you're underneath the tower. Sivir can chip away at you as you're coming up to CS, but she pretty much just shoves the wave into you and then she backs off into safety. Varus is similar to Ashe in that sense, where once he gets you underneath the tower, he's going to take really large chunks and pot shots at you. And we know that EDG like to dive, and they're set up beautifully to do so on this composition.
For what it's worth, it is very lane control based though from Deft and Meiko. If you want to have Deft be successful on this Varus, he needs to win the lane. As this is clever from EDG, they replace the ward.
So they will be able to spot out Uzi and Mata moving in towards this Grom camp.
Take the small and run.
Not going to get the same fight that we saw in the first game that was initiated by Deft and Meiko.
But still showing that these 2v2 bot lanes are never going to take a step back. They want to kill each other. They are bloodthirsty. So far, Meiko and Deft have gotten the better end of the deal pretty much every single time, but Mata and Uzi have so many more tools this time around to fight back.
And they've started this game off nice and strong here, already getting some good poke down on towards Deft and Meiko. As we check in with the mid lane, Scout going up against Xiaohu. Mlxg was a pick that leading into playoffs was very popular. Has been nerfed a couple of times, but still does see some play here and there.
Again, it's the cooldown windows, an opportunity to CC lock him between his passive, so he's a bit more fragile and brittle in this lane.
This is pretty crazy to say, but at 2 minutes and 30, I already feel like RNG are back to play in game number 3. It just feels better.
Yep, already feels like a very different RNG squad. Is this actually the first game that we're not going to see an Infernal Dragon spawn first? This time around it's going to be a Mountain Dragon that takes the Summoner's Rift. Down on the bottom side of the map, Uzi and Mata were able to hit level 2 first, so Deft and Meiko
hasn't hit a Q. Just wanted to highlight that.
Also, we do have Mlxg creeping in on Clearlove's jungle. In fact, Clearlove...
That's the wrong way. Mata might not be hitting your Qs, but you definitely have to, buddy.
Clearlove knows he's there.
He knows.
Oh, Clearlove going to be able to spot him out. There goes the double wards being placed down. Oh, she finds him, gets some good damage down. There's another Q being missed by Clearlove there, but this is exactly what we expected out of Mlxg this entire series.
And much easier to execute on because Xiaohu has control of the wave over Scout, so he had the mid lane rotation advantage.
Yeah, puts Looper on an island. Uzi has complete control as well. And so this 2v2 spills over into the jungle. Mlxg is able to focus the bottom side of the map where Clearlove is to make sure that all of that jungle is his.
You can already see Uzi and Mata being as aggressive as possible towards Deft and Meiko. No huge CS discrepancies between the AD carries, but still a lot of pressure coming out from RNG's bottom lane as Mlxg looks to take down his own blue buff. Clearlove immediately moves in towards his jungle and takes away as many small camps as he can find, but he can only find one of those, it's the Krugs.
It doesn't get better here for Clearlove, and once again it doesn't get better for Deft because he's going to go back and get a tier. And he's against the BF Sword champion in Ashe. And he's got a Tahm Kench with him, so if he had the Braum, perhaps the Varus would have more merit to it. But I really just don't see this, and I will challenge it.
comes down to RNG now having all of the opportunity and the tools to play proactively on the map, because EDG are waiting for big break points as well as trying to get back in control of this game. It feels like this is the first time this entire series that RNG have had their hand on the driver's wheel.
Things are still fairly even between EDG and RNG. Nothing too fancy has taken place so far. As again, we move straight back towards the bottom lane.
It seems quiet, but this is a big deal. The fact that Mata and Uzi, I mean, trying to think of about the polite way to say this, just big stick. Swinging around the big stick.
You lost me.
It's not going good, too good for them so far. Mata and Uzi still relentless in pressure, making sure that Deft and Meiko have a difficult time farming in this bottom lane, forcing Deft to use mana every time he wants to get CS that's out of his range. So you do check him at the top side of the map for the first time in this match. Very even between Looper and Mouse to start things off. Both using their teleport nice and early to get back into their lanes.
Which is good for Mouse. Of course, doing well in this lane, going even is still a win. As the signature Mlxg build is now coming out. He has an advantage and he wants to push it.
Yeah, goes straight for his mobility boots. Opts not to upgrade his jungle item at all.
Here's what I was talking about with Ashe. She's one of the few champions that when she does get you locked underneath the tower, she can do quite a bit of damage with volley.
Still, Deft holding on fairly well. Only about 3 CS behind Uzi. That should increase slowly. Sam actually finds Clearlove again. And even though he's not going to be able to get anything out of this besides taking down a ward, still spots him out. Doing exactly what we've expected Mlxg to do so far. In fact, going to go toe-to-toe against him, get some good damage down towards the Graves, and protects his pink ward as well. Slowly, members of EDG and RNG are collapsing towards the red side of the jungle, but no fights taking place between either team.
So do have to show respect because Scout is level 6 on his Lissandra, Xiaohu only level 5, means that a 2v2, even though Mlxg is putting in work on Clearlove, would not be ideal.
And there is that major discrepancy that you were talking about as well. The tier has been picked up by Deft. We do see the BSL being picked up by Uzi.
Yeah, gets that free big damage spike, whereas the Varus is somewhat a level-reliant champion. Will still have a lot of damage, but it's not the same to those relative auto attacks. Not only that, Braum can block a lot of the damage, so this is a really good start here for RNG, and it comes down to Mlxg doing well against Clearlove.
And then it also means that Clearlove's opportunity to gank is pretty much eliminated on the bottom side of the map unless he knows exactly where Mlxg is. Which is why I was setting up to see if they're going to clear that pink ward, which is why he was setting up for the mid or the top lane, because that's where he only has the kill pressure. He's effectively waiting on Scout to lock someone up in Frozen Tomb and then use the burst damage from Graves to 100 to 0 them.
Still a very different pace of game from what we see in Game Summer 1 and 2. This time around, Clearlove, he is behind in CS against Mlxg, 10 CS down against RNG Jungler. We'll be able to donate this blue on over towards Scout, which is spotted out by the hook shot that comes out from Uzi.
Unfortunately, Xiaohu can't actually rotate and have any kind of threat, even if Mlxg could have, because he did not have the mana pool.
It does mean that Uzi and Mata continue to be aggressive bottom, though.
There's the arrow coming out from Uzi, trying to lock down Meiko. Uses the grey health to keep himself alive. Deft taking no damage during the engage, but still, RNG chunk out EDG support.
Yeah, it's a great trade, and it can continue to happen. Meiko's completely zoned away from these minions. Deft, unfortunately, not going to have as much farm as he would like, especially as this crashes to the turret. You can see the help me pings as they are on struggle street.
And we saw earlier, Deft was able to hold on nicely to start things off, but now that he has the tier to the BFSL discrepancy, that CS lead is slowly edging in towards Uzi's favor.
And we're just putting Uzi back where he's most comfortable. Again, this guy made his reputation and his career on this identity that he will contest you for every single CS.
He's also arguably the best Ashe in the LPL, and we just saw Deft win twice with it.
It's already a lot more comfortable from RNG and just naturally giving themselves a 700 gold lead. It's not much to start things off, but the lead will slowly increase if they can continue to put up the pressure they have been so far.
We also mentioned that it's important that EDG get ahead early because they don't have a tank in their team composition, especially with Mouse going towards the Sheen build. If he wants to commit to tankiness, it may well be an Iceborne Gauntlet. But at this stage, they're just relying on their damage and they're starting the fights to actually get ahead from it.
Now, Mlxg is the one to try and make his presence felt in the bottom lane, clears out a couple of pink wards.
It's not just Mlxg, it's also Xiaohu quickly shoving up the lane, and every opportunity he gets, he's ducking down into Fog of War, which is why that pink ward placement that Scout is clearing out is so important.
He's going to have to be careful. Clearlove is waiting in the wings, but they've already been able to silence the Lissandra, getting so much damage down. Mlxg, though, gets burst here by the Graves. Suddenly, there's a Tahm Kench coming into the lane as well. EDG rotating faster in this match. Mata, really low, goes down to Deft for first blood. They chase down Xiaohu to get the double kill. Looper will pull one back for his team. He's now flashing towards EDG's side of the jungle, trying to run away. Has no summoners, has no teleport. Should be able to successfully get out, but Meiko is hunting down this Nah, spots him out, but it's still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of EDG, and they're looking to try and take down the first turret as well.
And RNG's intentions were so clear there. As Looper, are you going to be able to make it out here?
He's trying to run away. Deft finds him, slows him down, gets some good damage, hops on top of him, forces Meiko to keep him alive. And a good play coming out from Looper to get himself to safety, but still, first blood and first turret falls for EDG.
The 1-2 punch, again, RNG's intentions were so clear, and they hung around for so long that it allowed EDG to get in position and to make the better reactive play.
The strengths of Lissandra coming through there as well. Even through the Malzahar ultimate, through all of the Elise burst, still has a Negatron cloak and still gets the ultimate off. And this mobility boost build from Mlxg is just fragile.
EDG looking to try and save this bottom lane in the turret. Power convergence coming down from Meiko, who's rotated down. Mlxg is waiting in the wings to see if he can stop the gank coming out. So, RNG do want to trade turret for turret, but EDG are not giving it up without a fight.
But they're trying to brute force this when they don't really have the position. They keep giving EDG so much information as they're moving around on the map, and EDG are just responding beautifully to cut them off at every turn or corner.
RNG able to find Mouse and Clearlove. They lock down the Graves, but Scout putting a lot of damage down. Clearlove is going to be the first to fall. Mata picks up the kill, but Mlxg's on the wrong side of the map. Arrow's not going to connect. He's trying to run away. Deft's going to join the fight. Locks down Mata. Scout picks up the kill and gets the double as he takes down RNG support.
EDG are just collapsing so incredibly well. Meiko wants to try, but he probably won't get anything here. And RNG still going forward, still using Xiaohu more effectively, and Mlxg following it up. This feels like a more refined RNG, but you're just comparing the two right now, and EDG are spades ahead.
Showing that EDG not only can play excellently proactively, but even better when they are reactive and responding to RNG.
Exactly that. And if you're an RNG at the moment, you have to think, what do we do next? Because when we play proactively, EDG just countering it so nicely. And when we want to be reactive, EDG just capitalize on it and punish us so heavily.
They need more information when they try to make these aggressive all-in plays. It's, as I was saying, they're not respecting the fact that they're giving away their intentions to EDG and allowing them time and space to set up for beautiful counterplays. They're trying to force plays.
It's almost criminal, though, that EDG are doing this with no vision. Like, look at the minimap right now. RNG, where they started that fight, they should have won that fight because they were doing it on their own accord. They had the right target. They decided they want to Clearlove instead of Scout. It just doesn't work.
Really only been those two wards, the one that's sitting right above Dragon in the jungle entrance, as well as the pink ward that Mata just cleared out of the try. Just very efficient with their vision.
All in all, the plays that EDG have created for themselves have given them about 1,000 gold lead. 4-2 in kills, a turret traded each, but both first blood and first turret fell for EDG. RNG trying to take the first of their game, which is going to be looking for the Dragon. Clearlove on the wrong side of the map, so this should be an easy pickup for Mlxg as they take down the Mountain Dragon for themselves.
They get the objective. RNG haven't had too many Drakes in this series thus far. It's a good step. Once again, it feels like RNG have brought it back, but is it enough?
But the scary thing with taking the Mountain Dragon is it's only effective if you actually use it, which sounds pretty weird to say, but if you get the Infernal Dragon just literally sitting there breathing, clicking buttons, you're already getting that power. With the Mountain Drake, you have to siege up on monster objectives, you have to siege up on structures, so it's more of that proactive Dragon, which RNG have still been struggling with.
For now, though, we can see, once again, Blue Buff's been given over from Clearlove to Scout. Lissandra going to bring that one back into the mid lane. Top side of the map, Looper looking at still push up there as, in fact, EDG send Deft towards the top side of the map, so already moving the AD carry across the map.
Yeah, they haven't broken the turret on the bottom side, but they still decide to put him top. Ghostblade is also the item build of choice, something we haven't seen a lot of Varus in the AD carry position for because he's level reliant. Still a great build path, still does a lot of damage.
Really cost efficient to a nice mid-game power spike, which will synergize really well with Scout on that Lissandra. My other big thing with Liss, not only that she fits so well in the current meta through all of her tools, you know, lane dominance, wave clear, works well with double TP, great hard CC, is her flexible itemization. The fact that she can go for the Abyssal, the Hourglass.
We'll have to see what Scout's going to be picking up next on the as his next item on Lissandra. You can see Iceborne Gauntlet was the first pick coming up from Mal, so opting to be a little bit more tanky coming to this game, not picking up the Trinity Force that we see a few Echoes pick up recently.
Yeah, needing to be a tank. But still, there may be a slow-paced nature to this game. Both teams happy to scale. Really does come down to those item breakpoints. The Ghostblade's a pretty big one, yet it still feels like Uzi and Mata have got lane dominance.
Ooh.
Unless they hit.
Yeah, that's starting to hurt. You mentioned earlier, Mata can block some of those out, but when they're spaced out so nicely, and Deft's using Fog of War so well, can get a lot of damage now.
EDG are setting up for a TP play. They're pulling Scout back into spawn, and he has TP available, as well as has now just gotten a fresh buy-in.
Both junglers on the top side of the map as well. Clearlove actually moving away from the red side jungle of Mlxg.
Yep, so they're just going to let it pass. But again, the fact that they're all consistent on their back timers, very clear that communication was happening across the map, so good on EDG.
Smouse is still down in this bottom lane against Looper, but he said he got that Iceborne Gauntlet. The flip side, Looper went for the Frozen Mallet first.
It doesn't spot the ward.
Ooh, that pink ward. Like you said, Rusty doesn't spot out the vision well placed down by RNG, so they know exactly where Clearlove is. And Mlxg is just shadowing him at the moment. He's been on the top side of the map for quite some time now. And that is slowly just going to hurt even more and more. Uzi's got to be a little bit careful with those piercing arrows that are be coming out from Varus. Mouse gets caught out by a Looper here, about to turn into Mega now, but does have Lissandra coming down with him. Power Lock emerge, looking to knock him down, but Clearlove also being locked up by Xiaohu in the mid lane, dodges away from the arrow, jumps back in with the collateral damage, and suddenly two members of RNG have been caught out. Mata has to flash away. Uzi's joining the fight, getting good damage on towards Scout. Meiko will be able to eat him up and try and get him to safety. Still has great health to rely on if he needs to get out of there, but they fizzle the fight out, and they trade none for none.
And this all starts with Xiaohu getting caught, but Mata just does so much work, can put the door up and protect his mid laner, and RNG are able to turn it back around with the Ash Arrow and just with the strength of their rotation and team composition. It's good that nobody dies given how that started.
But it does mean that Deft is left alone with this structure, so it will fall in favor of EDG. So across the map and over as a whole, EDG still pick up the advantage.
Teleport's coming in for Looper, does have the Frozen Mallet. There's the Chains of Corruption coming out from Deft, trying to lock him down. But that's a Mega Nut that's about to jump straight on top of the Varus. Will flash away. Meiko eats him up, gets him saved. And suddenly this teleport's coming in from EDG. They're looking to turn this one around. But Southquad's going for the dive. It doesn't work out. Deft gets the first kill, and they're still chasing onto the remaining members of RNG. EDG, their reactive play has been on point this series.
It's messy and it's forced, and RNG just cannot get it together and getting that seamless execution. Deft just styled on RNG.
It just feels at this stage in the game that EDG are composed, they're in control, they're just reacting to what RNG are throwing at them simply because RNG are throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at EDG, and just seeing if it'll work.
You know, these two teams had very similar stories coming into the grand finals. Both went to 5 games against their opponents. It was Team WE for EDG, IMA for RNG. IMA were the third place team in the LPL. And this has just been a completely different grand final to what we would have expected.
RNG have also really been struggling on the back half of the LPL as well as coming through their gauntlet. Yes, EDG didn't look great against Team WE, but I think it's fair to say that EDG also faced the harder opponent, especially if you just look at the ladder. Although IMA did manage to beat Team WE when it was all said and done in that best of 5, but RNG, we've seen kind of their low points, and it looks like they're continuing to slump when it mattered most.
This is a big moment for both of these teams here. The stage is set for EDG to get that first place finish with a 3-0, but it's the Drake that you have to look towards. Do RNG want to look towards fighting at it? They've got item spikes, they are reasonably powerful. They could look towards a team fight that composition would be okay with having.
Well, before we move down towards the Ocean Drake, we just saw the gold swing there You mentioned earlier, Rusty, RNG were in control of majority of the early game. It looked a lot better for them. They were getting these natural advantages just from CS alone. That's a cheeky blue buff.
That's unfortunate.
The reactive plays coming out from EDG have just been too strong for RNG to handle. They put themselves back into this game quite nicely. They're again 3,000 gold up and looking incredibly strong as we approach 20 minutes and the second elemental dragon of the game.
Yeah, so they're going to go towards this one. Looper doesn't actually have teleport. RNG decide they don't want to fight for it. So once again, the Drake, EDG getting more and more objectives. RNG starting to hemorrhage.
Focus now will switch towards the top side of the map, although Deft wants to pick up the wave before he makes his back.
He does have his second serrated Dirk, so we'll have to see what he picks up next. Could be the Maul Malmortius or the Dustblade of Drakthar.
He must be close to something.
In fact, going to stick around the rest of his buddies on the bottom side of the map to take down the bottom lane in a turret.
They're
or not.
chasing.
They really
There
want
they go.
it. They were worried about Baron being taken by RNG, which is why they immediately rotate. A fair showing of respect to RNG.
They got that Mountain Drake.
It's also a Malzahar Ashe composition, so their damage to neutrals is quite severe.
They're actually now chasing down the rest of RNG. Good silence coming out from Xiaohu, who stopped Scout and Mouse from aggressively pushing forward.
But that was good from RNG, funnily enough. Maybe it was too much respect from EDG to the Baron being taken. The end result is that the turret doesn't go down. RNG just hang out.
They're still waiting in the wings though, RNG. It seems like we've seen Mlxg just sitting at that Tribush for quite some time this game. Not able to get anything from it. He's now looking to see if he can wrap around Mouse on the top side of this map.
He's about to go in.
Power Burst does come down. Slow from the Frozen Mouse. Going to keep Mouse locked down. Has to flash very early. There's the Mega Knight coming out from Looper, and they get a pick onto EDG's top laner.
You know, I've spent a lot of time in Australia, and I can say with a lot of accuracy that's exactly what the spiders do to mice there.
Yeah. Look, you're not wrong, honestly.
It's just brutal.
There's a lot of damage from Mlxg, and it all comes back to Looper having this lane control. Now they look mid.
Oh, that's aggressive. Flash forward from Xiaohu trying to lock down Deft. They obliterate Clearlove. Chains of Corruption. Gonna land on top of Mata as well as Mlxg. But RNG get the pick they were looking for. Now look to try and take down the mid lane out of turret.
And there's no response because Scout is actually on the bottom side of the map trading structure for structure.
And that's a turret that should have went down a couple of minutes ago. So EDG, a bit of a blunder here. RNG being quite proactive, pushing the bill forward. They get a pick top, they get a pick mid, and they are not done.
Yeah, setting up for another one, although that volley may have given them away because it went over the edge. So they know that at least Uzi is sitting in that corner.
A lot of pings coming out from EDG.
And they're actually going to disengage.
Spawning out the play that comes out from RNG, so they do head back towards their side of the jungle. But again, proactive plays coming out from RNG, but still they're 2,000 gold behind EDG in this match.
Poor form, Uzi. Poor form. Still doing well, and once again, it's Uzi on the Ashe, one of his better champions. The Jhin was good, but he was against the team designed to kill him. However, when he's on that Ashe, it just feels like he goes up a level in skill.
He's also got a lot more control in front of him on this composition. Malzahar, Gnar, as well as the Braum can offer a lot of safety and space and control for Ashe in these team fights, as well as their potential to not only have a strong 5v5, but also the pick.
We also said Uzi gives you one game a series. Perhaps this is the one.
We'll have to check in and see if he's the one that steps up to the plate here for RNG, because even though they've been looking a lot better, more proactive, fixing a lot of the mistakes they've made in this series so far, they're still in the back foot in this game, 2,000 gold behind EDG.
But Looper is looking for that flank, has the Meiko Gnar stacked and ready.
Yeah, big flank actually available here.
Deft's going to have to be careful, but for now it's Mlxg gets obliterated by Scout, picks up the first kill in the fight. They're going to trade Defto, who does get collapsed on by the flank that was coming in, but it's a 2-for-1 because Scout gets the double kill as he takes down Mata. The Abyssal Forage being used by Meiko to try and cut off Uzi, has to flash away. Scout jumping on top of it, he's been exhausted. He is so slow in this Ashe, he can't cut away from Deft. It's EDG. Pick up another kill. It's a 3-for-1 trade.
And EDG have a lot of options here because, yes, Deft went down, but the jungler went down for RNG.
Scout's about to find Looper as well.
The Frozen Mallet putting a lot of work on towards Lissandra, slowing her down, forcing her to use the claw to get away.
And Looper effectively not only pulling the wave so they can't continue to push up and trade that team fight advantage into a structure, but also saying, hey, I'm hanging around, I'm full health, don't look at that Baron.
Yeah, so deters them from the major objective. That was really well done from Looper, and it was actually incredibly well done from Meiko. He almost finds him. The way Meiko played that last fight actually baited Uzi into walking into the lane again instead of into the jungle, assuming that someone was in his belly, but he was alone.
Uzi has always been great at target selection. Uzi has never really been that substantial at weaving his cooldowns. He tends to kind of walk into bad situations. And speaking of bad situations,
Mata has been caught out here. Deft does get locked down by the Cocoon, but Meiko has eaten up the support, and Deft will be able to get a pick. As now Scout, he's into the back lines, using the claw to get over the wall. Mlxg in a lot of trouble, turns into a spider, jumps on top of him.
Oh no!
But the self-cast goes out from Scout, not able to lock down the spider, just forces the flash coming out from RNG's jungler.
That's embarrassing.
That's misclick.
Unfortunately, they don't get the kill on Mlxg, so the jungler is available.
Teleport's coming in for Looper to try and stop this Baron play. EDG.
We have seen this situation before, level 12 to level 12.
Meiko trying to eat up Mlxg and stop him from getting in towards the pit. He's incredibly low, but they try to fight instead. EDG pulled a trigger. Collateral damage from Clearlove does not connect. That's Meiko.
Kill him.
He's got one-on-one. Meiko gets the solo kill against Mlxg and stops him from trying to steal this Baron. This should be EDG's Baron now.
It also means that RNG have only one option, and it's fight.
And they're going for it. Looper will pick up the first kill on towards Meiko. Gets revenge for his juggler, but Mouse, he's going down as well. James the Corruption just locked down RNG for just a short amount of time. And they're not able to continue the fight here as EDG get forced out of the Baron pit.
About 4 seconds of cooldowns off of having a Mega Null, which could have been an entire clean ace of EDG's roster here. Meiko sets them up by killing Mlxg solo as he was looking for the Baron, but it turns back around to them thinking they can start it. They actually couldn't.
And where Meiko is having a standout game, as is Looper for RNG. This guy is putting in so much work, and that's back-to-back massive plays from their Korean top laner. He's playing great red zone defense on this Baron.
Certainly is so far. RNG holding on wherever they possibly can, but I can't believe it. Meiko there, you know, really showing that the Toad is the Spider's natural predator.
Yes, Looper's having a good performance, but Mata is not, and Meiko is really shining. Mata's actually been slumping a little bit, and I think that directly attributes to RNG also looking worse because he is such a big part of their team and their success. And you know, it's a big deal when you can outperform someone like Mata, a world's MVP.
The Scout now trying to get away here. That is a time catch, very short ultimate coming out. Scout just completely whiffing in the way for him to get out of this fight. We'll get you up, mate, by Meiko. We'll get back to safety, but he almost gets picked off by RNG.
Yeah, look, that was one of the shortest Tom Kench ultimates I've ever seen, and one of the shortest claws out of Lissandra to boot. So RNG get 2 low health members of EDG to back away. Now they get the objective.
And they push to take down another Elemental Dragon for themselves. So second Dragon for them and second Ocean Dragon of the game. So still trying to keep up in objectives. They're still 2,000 gold behind, but they haven't fallen any further behind against EDG so far. So putting up a good fight here in game number 3.
One thing to note, Meiko did just clear one of those wards, but RNG have had immaculate vision set up still around the Baron, even though they were just fighting for the Drake. They still had 3 to 4 pink wards available for them. They can still walk into the Baron area. EDG can't just bait it.
Now comes down to Uzi making sure that he can make the most of that vision and connect with the key arrow. Their composition, again, is so strong in pick potential between that Malzahar, Elise, and Ashe, but we've yet to see them execute on that all series.
EDG looking to try and siege the mid lane inner turret. Unless she was looking for that flank, doesn't land the Cocoon onto a prime target.
Well, he also wouldn't have really engaged on that anyway because Uzi was in the top lane creating a slow push and was making his way down bottom towards mid. And speaking of slow push,
yeah, they've actually got bottom and top minions stacking up now, so RNG stuck on the rotation. They do rotate quickly, however, when you look at their team composition. Boots of mobility.
But EDG are running them around the map, looking to try and take down the mid lane in a tight. There's the arrow coming out. Scout.
Oh no.
Tries to use the ultimate on himself, but the cast time's too short. Still has the Frozen 2 up and available. That's the arrow down for Uzi. And a lot of initiation potential from RNG is now not available.
And that's the power of Tom Kench and what he does to negate a lot of these pick compositions, and as a great answer to Ashe.
It's a crazy thing to consider, right? It's, whoa.
There goes Scout over the back lines there, tries to lock down Xiaohu, taking a lot of damage. Pops the ultimate to Meiko, but he falls. Mata, next one to fall. A double kill comes out for Deft. They're chasing Mlxg. The intimacy spot has to come back down, and the snipe's just not going to be enough. Uzi body blocks the front end of that arrow, but RNG lose 2 members, and they're going to lose a bit of their base as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an inhibitor taken. We'll see how aggressive EDG look. I would imagine they recall after this, set up for the Baron more aggressively. And RNG just falling short at the line once again. Xiaohu gets caught, Mata gets caught. It's just nothing they can do.
Scout really showing Xiaohu how this Lissandra is supposed to be executed, brilliantly using Fog of War and terrain to hide his glacial path and getting on top of people before they know what hits them.
Now inhibitor turret is down. 5,000 gold lead for EDG. They took the inhibitor as well. Baron's still left up and standing. They're looking to try and push for the win here, guys, because they are at they're at match point at the moment to try and continue their perfect split in the LPL, and they're looking to try and go out with a bang here, because RNG have just been trying to be proactive in this game, but it's just not working out for them.
Frankly, this doesn't even look like a final. This looks like EDG just, you know, dusting off their throne, fluffing up the pillows, getting ready to sit down, kick back, and look towards Worlds.
On the cusp of perfection. It will take one more solid fight at the very least before they find a victory. And there is still a big Na to contend with.
And we've already seen that RNG can put up these desperate fights. Last game, although they did drop that match, they pulled it back to within 3,000 gold with a Baron steal as they look to try and collapse onto a Xiaohu in the top lane. They don't get close enough with the Abyssal Voyage, and EDG do not get the pick.
Likewise, Mata hanging out in the corner.
Oh,
Flashes into it, but gets far away.
bit Orkies, really.
Big cooldown. A very important cooldown as well, now left for RNG.
Yeah, Ashe not having the Essence Reaver build. It's the Infinity Edge, Ashe. So lots of damage to be seen from Uzi if he can position. The Summoner spells are available here for Uzi in particular, as well as most of RNG. It feels like they can still win a fight now.
Xiaohu and Uzi are so far out of position right now because they're the only 2 members with the blue trinkets left on their team. And without those blue trinkets, they have to make a guess if EDG start the Baron or not. But Uzi not communicating with his team, not stepping forward to place the blue trinket, and Xiaohu actually in base. They just look like on completely different pages.
RNG forced to head back to base to deal with the super minions that were crashing on towards their Nexus. And that means EDG pulled the trigger. There is a ward outside the Baron pit, and there are teleports up for Lupa. He's going to pull the trigger, and immediately EDG just back off.
That's fine. Burn the cooldowns. Have patience. Clear it out. Start again.
Yeah, the TP gets cancelled by Lupa. It means that nobody else is available to split push. Middle lane, thankfully, for RNG is close enough to the pit, but Mlxg is in trouble.
Deft sidesteps the Cocoon, is able to lock down Mlxg. He gets exhausted. The AD carry is at half health, and the teleport does get cancelled to go for the flank of the backlines from Scout. And EDG just being as cautious as they possibly can. There's a big mega knock from Lupa. Now forced to use the ultimate, gets into the back lines, gonna pop his Guardian Angel, but he takes down Mlxg with him. Uzi's in trouble. Clearlove and Deft chase on forward, but now it's the AD carry for EDG that's dead. Xiaohu picks up the kill. Mouse has to run away. RNG put on their last stand as they get 2 kills in the fight. Lupa's going to the back lines, gets jumped on by Clearlove. Scout could be able to take it down, has to use the Zhonya's Hourglass. And RNG, they find 4 picks for themselves and pull up the desperate team fight.
Big win for RNG. It could set them up for the Baron. However, they're too low, so they're not going to be able to secure the objective. But the momentum, everything that EDG had just built up in the past 5 minutes, the teleports baited and wasted, still gives RNG the win.
And initially, this looks so good for EDG. Again, Deft just putting on his blue suede shoes, sidestepping Cocoon, setting up the team perfectly. But it all goes sideways when Lupa gets in here and finds a massive 4-man Gnar ultimate.
And it's legitimately just Lupa. Uzi spends this entire fight, I think he auto-attacks twice when kiting backwards, and just throws Ws for the rest of it. It's Xiaohu, it's Lupa, it's the solo laners of RNG bringing it back.
And it's finally nice to see them in Game 3, but again, how this composition works is you have so much time and space created on that front line. Again, EDG do not have a true tank. So Gnar and Malzahar and Elise can disrupt a lot and allow Uzi to walk through the front lines.
Still a 2 for 4 trade that went in favor of RNG. It's 14-11 in kills on Summoner's Rift at the moment. But it's still, as always, a 2,500 gold lead in favor of EDG. You can see the damage dealt during that last fight. Xiaohu he was just left untouched throughout the entire team fight.
Speaking of team fight,
And looking for another one here. Chains Corruptions does land on towards Mlxg, locks down Marta, looking to connect on towards Xiaohu and Uzi, but does not.
we're fine. Everything's fine. Going quickly back to that damage graph, though, the fact that Looper and Malzahar both out-damaged Uzi, not the greatest scenario to be in. But that said, with all of those kills, a lot of big breakpoints came through for the Ashe. Now has the Scimitar completed, so a lot more protection to step forward and be aggressive.
EDG, they're able to take down the Ocean Dragon for themselves. Actually looking to try and collapse on towards Scout. He's been locked down by Xiaohu. Doesn't have time to use the ultimate himself. Doesn't even have the ultimate available. And RNG get another pick for themselves.
Again, the pick composition gets a pick. Exactly what they're designed to do. And it's Scout being out of position. So now, yes, there is a low health Malzahar, but they do that Baron extremely quickly if they kick it off.
Baiting it.
If they kick it off.
They're waiting very
They're
patiently.
standing on a ward, so RNG have all the information and power here.
The ward spots them out, so they know the jungler is not on the Baron. Aegis being popped there to try and run straight towards EDG, but no fight being picked by RNG. China Crisao are going to come back up shortly as well, and they've started on the Baron. They're looking to do this.
Forcing them now towards the Baron. RNG turning around.
They go for the fight to start things off. Looper gets a Nara on towards Mouse and Meiko to kick off the fight. Xiaohu will lock down EDG's top lane and force his ultimate on the spot. Marta taking a lot of damage, will live to tell the tale. But now RNG incredibly low. Scouts
Deft
back
full
up.
health.
Here's Telbrook coming in. RNG have to run. Meiko flash forward with the exhaust onto Uzi. Deft still chasing, still poking. Clearlove gonna be able to knock the GA out. There goes Scout. He's in there. Gets a big flank onto RNG. Starts off with 2 kills. Loopers run away. Time catch will eventually fall, and Meltzart's the next target as Xiaohu's just caught here. Mlxg tries to turn around after the GA, but he gets popped by Deft. And now Mouse teleporting to the fight as well. RNG then just get picked apart piece by EDG.
The cards were stacked up and knocked over. The fact is during all of that, Mouse was full health, teleported back into the fight. They have so many options. Inhib, Baron,
They're going to
doesn't
try
matter.
and end, I think,
They're pinging
after
for
this
the base.
inhibitor. They actually want to just outright finish this game. It's Looper against the world. Marta in 8 seconds, and then it's Uzi in 15.
They're at least going to be able to take down this inhibitor. It seems like that's what EDG wanted to come in for. They get the inhibitor and now ping straight towards the Baron. Big team fight coming out from EDG.
And the jungle is still Sandstorm Clearlove, so they can move over towards that Baron as we get to see this fight again. Mouse starts out of position, yet EDG somehow still win this.
And a lot of eyes also on Scout with the TP that's coming now in the top right-hand corner of your screen. So, again, the communication. EDG are shepherd dogs right now. They are funneling the sheep of RNG up into this tight little corridor. We said blue side has an incredibly high win rate. That is why. That is a essential piece, is that when you are escaping the Baron pit from purple side, you have to funnel through tiny choke points, and the AoE and the 6.15 meta obliterates you.
And during this time, EDG were able to move towards the Baron pit and take down Baron for themselves. RNG decided not to fight for the objective. So now, not only are EDG 5,000 gold in the lead, they have that inhibitor taken down again. They have Baron buff to push for even more objectives.
Yeah, once again, there is nothing on the map, though, for EDG to go for besides structures. The middle lane inhibitor is the shortest lane, so RNG can afford to put somebody there and then have them rotate. Inner turrets, the only things that EDG can really look towards unless they just straight barrel down mid.
And it's desperate times again for RNG. It is match point for EDG. If they want to start a reverse sweep, it has to be with this game, but they're walking straight into Scout to start things off here. LSG and Marta take a little bit of damage.
It's still a very close game in terms of the gold, 66 to 61. You're coming up into the point where that doesn't even matter anymore, though, because everyone's running around with at least their core, if not some luxury items or the defensive items stacked up. So, I mean, we've seen Hail Mary victories from RNG. Those turnarounds are still possible, but someone else needs to join Looper on that front line and step up and start playing the game.
And they almost pulled off that Hail Mary victory in game number 2. Were not able to execute when they got the Baron steal. This time around, they're up against a Baron up EDG who are just knocking on their door. Those are 3 empowered, 4 now empowered cannon minions. Just chipping away at the top lane inhibitor turret. Already down to half health with just 1 push coming out from EDG.
Once again, thankfully, it's the middle lane inhibitor, so Uzi can try his best to trim it down before it comes back to this top lane. RNG starting to run out of options here. They want to engage or they'll get poked out by Scout and Deft.
Engaging still very hard to do on a GA Echo as well as the Varus.
There's a change to Corruptions. Looper is almost mega. Looking to get into the back lines. Does have a GA available. Transforms. Immediately EDG move back towards the safety of deep into the top lane.
They do get a lot of chip damage though on Mouse. Now sitting
Yeah.
about 25%. Still has his GA available to him.
Winions.
Get a turret down. Mouse actually using his ultimate to get back towards the top side of the map. So is that full health, but doesn't have that ultimate available anymore. The top lane inhibitor turret incredibly low. EDG still threatening to push through.
No Mega Gnar available for Looper. Gives a good window of opportunity for EDG to work their magic. But whenever Xiaohu gets onto somebody, the damage he's doing now is starting to stack up and is becoming a big deal.
Bottom lane has a massive wave though for RNG that's slowly collapsing in towards EDG's base.
And the reason why EDG want this top inhibitor so badly is because the Elder Dragon is spawning in 30 seconds, and they want the Elder Dragon inhibitor to play cross-map.
Mlxg is looking to stop recalls with his positioning. RNG are now threatening them to just stop them from going back to base so that those minions can do work.
Deft is incredibly low, so they will use the empowered recall from Baron to get back to base as quick as they can and defend that bottom lane inhibitor turret that takes half its health just from minions alone.
So much money.
Yeah,
He's rich.
definitely.
And here comes the Elder Dragon. 5 seconds until that one's up. RNG are the ones with the position around the pit to start things off.
I mean, both teams are now postured around it. They haven't had time to set up. So it comes down to if they set up or if they just decide to go. RNG have the inside track to the river above all else.
Scout, though, on the bottom side of your map, looking for a big flank. He can cut them off.
Finds Looper, just locks him down, gets a little bit of chip damage onto the tank of RNG.
Looper is doing so much work for RNG. If he hadn't zoned out Scout, you guarantee that Lissandra is looking for a big 4-man flank.
Just waiting now for the moment where a big team fight actually breaks out. RNG, you can tell they want it, but EDG are just playing them for the full. Trying to kite back, utilize their poke, set themselves up as best they possibly can before they fight.
Again, it comes down to the
Or
strengths.
just go!
Vissel's Voyage coming in. Marta forced to use the ultimate early. Scout can be locked down before he can use his ultimate. Meiko eats him to make sure he stays alive. Scout goes back in. Still looking for it. Locks down Xiaohu. Gets a double kill to start things off. Mouse is going to go into the back lines and pick that one up for him. And RNG, they're getting obliterated. EDG are tearing through
They're not
them.
done though.
One by one, they take down Looper's Guardian Angel. Mlxg is down as well. Uzi's locked down. He's getting destroyed. Clearlove picks up the kill. And RNG, they're going to get aced here by EDG.
And that's it. EDG will reclaim their throne as the premier team in the LPL. And again, Uzi is denied another LPL title.
And with that, EDG move towards the Nexus turrets. They continue their perfect split in the summer split of the LPL. EDG are your champions and the #1 seed heading into Worlds 2016.
An undefeated split, an undefeated playoff run, and the cherry on top, the 3-0 victory, the dismantling